Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out to join us today. My name is Adrienne Montgomery. I'm with ERP VAR, and I'm so pleased to be joined by Ubix, CertaPro, and VIP Integrated Payments today. We're going to be talking about predictive analytics, AI, e-commerce, and integrated payments, all integrated within Sage 100. The speakers here, we're joined today by Tony Levy. He's a VP of Product Development over at Ubix. CertaPro, Simon Quinn, Director of Sales. CertaPro, Nick Young. He is the Senior ERP Consultant and eLink Product Manager. And that's what we're going to be showing you today is the eLink connector within the Magento web store and Sage 100. And we're also joined by VIP Integrated Payments and Maya Green, and he is a partner over there. A little bit about the companies. Ubix is a cutting-edge data science platform, and it allows business users and experts to solve those analytic problems without relying on those expensive data scientists. It is a software tool that manages the complete AI lifecycle and automates the scaling of those key tasks across the end-to-end data and analytics pipeline. And they help Sage 100 users of all skill levels to contribute to the development of that artificial intelligence. And it does it at scale without all the manual work that it would take from a data scientist. And CertaPro is a Sage 100 leading value-added reseller, but also a what is considered an integrated software vendor. They are a partner for Magento, and they integrate Magento's web store with Sage 100. It's called eLink, and it's a two-way connector that handles all the data connection points for business partner portals, and B2B and B2C e-commerce needs. And since they're a Magento technology partner and a Gold Sage development partner, they can develop and build an end-to-end e-commerce solution for Sage 100 users and merchants. And a little bit about VIP Integrated Payments. They're a leading provider in integrated payment technology solutions for North American merchants. The thing that differentiates them from other payment providers is they have strong partnerships, and they don't offer just one platform. They look at the end user and the merchant, and they will help diagnose what the best solution is based on the unique needs of that end user. So they have a diversified network of partners and alliances that they've built for over 25 years, and they are constantly working on these relationships and developing them as part of their goal to help all of their business partners grow and succeed along with the merchants. And then just a little bit about the workflow today. We're going to kick it off with Ubix, who's going to talk about, Tony's going to be talking about artificial intelligence and predictive analytics and how they take the data in Sage 100 and help the user come up with the best answer given the use case. So accounts receivable representatives can collect faster on invoices. Salespeople can make better decisions based on profiling customers. Any individual users can use the data in Sage 100 to come up with better answers and help facilitate growth. CertaPro is going to be talking about the Magento web store interface, and VIP Integrated Payments is going to be talking about how to get the best rate and best customer service and all the things that go into driving the costs down when it comes to credit card processing. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off over to Tony, who is going to talk about Ubix. Thank you, Tony.
And thank you, Adrienne. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Ubix, let me just say that we're thrilled and excited to be here today in partnership with ERP VAR CertiPro, and VIP integrated payments to describe how you can combine new capabilities with Sage 100 in order to unlock business value in these turbulent times. Now, you can think of Ubix as an advanced analytics and data science platform. It's designed to help business users and domain experts such as business analysts, financial analysts, demand planners, inventory analysts, and production planners solve analytic challenges that were never possible before. And to do this fast, reliably, and affordably, this is the next big wave in unlocking business value for mid-market companies in all industries and all geographies. And so why is this important? Why now? Why Ubix? Well, the simple answer is unprecedented volatility, uncertainty, and risk. In a world where demand for products is uncertain, supply is at risk, and input commodity prices are highly volatile, every company needs new tools and disciplines to anticipate and shape business outcomes more effectively. Now, traditional ERP and reporting tools alone cannot address the analytic opportunities that exist from the front office to the back office here on the left-hand side, from customer analytics and demand planning to production and procurement. Ubix extends Sage 100 to empower the business user to address these high-value analytic challenges with data science and advanced analytics. And we offer compelling pre-built analytic solutions from our solution library across a range of use cases to help you get started quickly, reliably, and affordably. Now, for those of you who are value-added resellers of Sage 100, we want to partner with you to serve mid-market companies. We offer an aggressive VAR program to help you grow revenue with low overhead, 40% margin, 25% renewal bonus, and automated onboarding of customers are just some of the features designed to reward VARs for productivity and business growth. Now, modern business systems like Sage 100 are already providing flexible on-demand digitization of core business operations, driving so-called digital transformation. Now, with the advent of data science and advanced analytics, organizations can now analyze unprecedented volumes of data from disparate sources and do this faster, continuously, and cost-effectively to drive new insights throughout the enterprise. We call this the era of the intelligent business. Think of intelligent processes and applications that tap into both internal and external data sources to generate new insights and foresight that drive intelligent action for greater business impact. Now, Ubix helps you create this intelligent business by transforming the way you measure, you monitor, you analyze operational and financial data to drive timely, more effective decision-making. Ubix helps you shift from the left side of the slide to the right side, from an over-reliance on human intuition in making decisions to deriving new insights automatically from data to augment human judgment. For example, if today you create demand forecasts using human judgment alone, then with Ubix, you enable advanced algorithms to create more reliable demand forecasts based both on historical data as well as drivers such as weather or consumer price indices, which are external to your ERP. Not only are the machine-generated forecasts more accurate, but when done well, they can remove bias that is often found in human judgment. You then reconcile human judgment with machine-generated forecasts, you make adjustments, and submit the final forecast to the plan of record. Ubix helps you shift from an over-reliance on manual spreadsheets and traditional reporting tools to leverage modern cloud analytics with automation that includes proven algorithms that operate on more granular data down to the item level, for example, as well as external data to create new insights, new inferences, new predictions that were not possible before. With Ubix, you shift from an over-reliance on historical, solely historical internal data in making decisions to augment historical data with causal drivers that are often external, such as on the procurement side, commodity price indices, to create new insights that drive business impact. Ubix is an advanced analytics and data science platform that manages the end-to-end data science lifecycle and bridges the gap between business users and data scientists. While other data science platforms focus on Python developers and data scientists, Ubix focuses on domain experts such as business analysts, financial analysts, demand planners, and more. We believe that until the domain expert is brought into the analytics process early, data science will not become abundant, reliable, and cost-effective. With Ubix, companies can leverage Sage 100 in existing infrastructure, combine both internal and external data to generate new insights. Specifically, our platform ingests and assembles these data. We enable business users to build analytic solutions that they put into production. These solutions then create new inferences, new predictions. Think of these as new data that are then passed to the appropriate end user interfaces and applications. This way, data science enabled processes and applications can be built quickly, cost effectively, to deliver timely, reliable foresight and drive intelligent action. In effect, we're helping you become smarter without having to hire expensive, hard to find, hard to retain talent. Because Ubix is a general purpose data science platform, we address any number of data types and use cases from the front office to the back office. And here we list just a few. Customer analytics is about analyzing data from a company's e-commerce site, such as transactions, navigation, interaction with various website widgets, and then creating analytic models from these that predict the next best action for the users. Perhaps it's a complementary product to purchase along with the intended product. Perhaps it's a price promotion. The most common goal is to increase share of wallet and reduce customer churn. Accounts receivable collections analytics enables a company to model customer attributes such as firmographics, payment history, to infer the likelihood that a customer who has missed a past due invoice will pay in the next period. By segmenting customers, the AR team can optimize resources to improve collections and reduce collection costs. For example, segment C is a group of customers that is very unlikely to pay. These are sold to an outside collection agency. Segment B are a set of customers that may pay, and they're sent a phone call. And segment A are a set of customers that are very likely to pay, and these are sent an email. Demand forecast is the most basic of use cases for the majority of hard goods companies, whether they are a manufacturer, the distributor, or retailer. By analyzing order history as well as external factors, one can create a more reliable demand forecast by time period, by SKU, by channel. Imagine what a 30% improvement in forecast accuracy can do for a company in terms of reducing working capital requirements and safety stock levels. Commodity procurement analytics is about using internal procurement data combined with external commodity index data to create more reliable commodity price forecasts. And when combined with demand, then the ability to make better procurement recommendations. A 3 to 5% procurement savings drops right down to the bottom line. Connected field service is about monitoring sensor data from products used by customers, such as appliances or heating and ventilation equipment and other equipment, to detect anomalies and predict failures. This leads to improved spare parts planning, field service scheduling, in order to reduce the cost of field service and increase top-line growth for field service revenues. These are just a few examples of how data science and advanced analytics can help Sage 100 customers unlock business value. Now, let me share with you a customer case study. This is a meat processor based in the Midwest. They convert beef and pork and turkey proteins into various products for sale into two market segments. The first is the restaurant market segment, and this has experienced a significant decline during the pandemic. The second is the specialty food, retail, and distribution market segment, which is seeing significant growth. New CFO joined the company 3 years ago to drive digital transformation. He replaced their legacy ERP and then started to build out an analytic foundation using Snowflake as a data lake and Power BI as an analytic workbench. This is when we met the CFO, and he told us that their number one business challenge is how to manage input commodity price volatility. His company's caught in the middle. On the one hand, they buy proteins on the open market. On the other hand, large retailers and distributors are putting pressure on price. He wants to use analytics to help his procurement team make better decisions. And he recognized that his current analytic foundation was missing a critical component, namely a data science platform to combine both internal procurement data with third-party commodity index data to create models that forecast commodity prices going forward. The output of Ubix is fed both into the ERP reporting module as well as Power BI as their analytic workbench. We're pursuing two use cases with this customer. The first use case creates a reliable commodity price forecast using third-party USDA data and historical internal procurement data. The second use case, we tackle the demand forecast, create a more reliable demand forecast, and then with quantity from the demand forecast and price from the price forecast, we can then make a more reliable procurement or quantity times price recommendation. And as you can see, the business value is significant here with this customer, a 3-cent savings per pound in procurement, price is worth $1 million in annual procurement savings. And this drops right down to the bottom line. The point here is that the ROI in advanced analytics is substantial. This case study underscores the reason that data science and advanced analytics is so important, particularly in these turbulent times where volatility, uncertainty, and risk are increasing. Advanced analytics can unlock significant business value across a range of business challenges. Now, at the heart of our strategy to deliver value quickly and affordably to mid-market companies is a solution library. Through our own efforts, as well as those of our partners, we have access to hundreds of analytics solutions in a range of industries from retail and industrials to energy, financial services, and other services. Many of these are built and have been in production for over 20 years. If one of your use cases can be addressed by one of these models, then the implementation effort is very low and the time to value is very fast. We monetize these models, and sell them for an annual subscription fee that ranges in price depending on the value they unlock. We encourage those of you that are Sage 100 resellers to partner with us to build models, and then we can monetize them with you in a rev share agreement. This library of solutions allows you to accelerate your analytics journey as a Sage 100 customer and receive value at every step. For instance, you can start by addressing demand planning, create a more reliable demand plan, then global capacity planning to determine how to fulfill that demand, then create more reliable and feasible capacity-constrained production plans in the factory, address safety stock levels in the warehouse, optimize logistics in the total supply network. You can then tackle procurement, as we illustrated before in the case study, and then even predictive maintenance of equipment on the shop floor. The opportunity to unlock business value is really endless. Now, demand planning is a great place to start in all companies that are in the hard goods industries, from manufacturing to distribution to retail. Human judgment alone cannot cope with volatility, uncertainty, and risk. Human judgment not only struggles with variability, but is also subjected to bias. And there are many forms of bias. For example, anchoring bias is the tendency to make judgments by reference to a benchmark, which may or may not be relevant. We see this when a forecast is constructed by reference to a target or a previous forecast, resulting in underestimating variation or the level of randomness, or what is called noise. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek evidence which confirms current beliefs and ignores that which don't. We see this when we remember when we have correctly spotted bias in the forecast created by other people, but not when we ourselves fail to do so. This often justifies adjusting other people's forecasts. These are just some examples, but there are probably 15 different biases that can impact forecasts. So when a machine-generated forecast is created, we are then more likely to eliminate bias. Now, some of you are using traditional statistical forecasting methods with your forecasts. These are largely based on history. They may be adequate at handling fast-moving items, but don't work in complex, volatile demand patterns. Demand is impacted by external drivers such as weather forecasts, foot traffic data, local demographics, consumer tastes, and social media. Our solution uses data science to combine external and internal data. It avoids overfitting the data by minimizing or pruning out factors that have little to no demand impact. The solution can apply data science not only on a product, store, or channel level, but also at different levels of aggregation with flexible groupings. The value opportunity is significant. Imagine the reductions in working capital requirements if a company can improve forecast accuracy by up to 40% and increase inventory turns by 20%. For those of you that are Sage 100 resellers, data science and advanced analytics is the next big wave in the mid-market. The opportunity to unlock business value for your customers is significant. We want to partner with you to realize this opportunity, and we've designed an aggressive VAR program to make it worth your while. Up to 40% margin retention with every sale, 25% of year-over-year bonus renewal bonus, 6 months of pre and post-sale support at no cost, additional revenue from Ubix solutions, automated onboarding of your customers, really an aggressive program. In summary, we believe that the strategic application of advanced analytics can help you as a Sage 100 customer gain greater speed, greater agility, greater foresight in these uncertain times. Reach out to Miles Mahoney, the Ubix Chief Revenue Officer, to schedule a discovery call. Miles will help you understand the value opportunity of applying advanced analytics from the front office to the back office, from customer analytics to financial analytics, demand forecasting, inventory allocation and replenishment, procurement, and more. We will then prioritize the high-value use cases, scope out the work, and kick off a project. And as an added incentive, we're offering you a 50% discount off of Ubix's first year subscription fee if you sign a POC by the end of December. In closing, the opportunities are endless and the ROI is significant. So act now. And with that, I'll hand the microphone over to Adrian.
Thank you, Tony. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Simon, who's going to talk about Magento.
Great. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Tony. Get my PowerPoint going here. So thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is Simon Quinn. Also with me is Nick Young, and together we're going to be discussing and demoing our how to create custom business partner portals with Adobe Commerce, also known as Magento, and how this can help your business. So I'm going to give an overview and talk about the concept, if you will, of our eLink software and how that works with Magento, and I'm going to hand it over to Nick, and he's going to get into the fun stuff, which will be performing a few transactions between Sage 100 and Magento. So while we're looking today at 100, I just want to take a quick moment to point out that this eLink product will also work with Sage 300, 500, and X3. So if any of you are working with those platforms, those Sage products, it will also have the same functionality. A little quick overview about CertaPro. So we are headquartered in Los Angeles. We've been in business for about 10 years. We are a leader in integrating Sage with Magento, also known as Adobe Commerce, and we have a team on both sides of the software, if you will. So we have Sage certified consultants as well as Magento certified developers, and everything we've built is done in-house on both sides. So often successful online businesses are going to reach a point where they're spending more time and money managing data in both their web store and in Sage. So you're managing product information, prices, stock levels, customer information, and web orders across two platforms. And that can sometimes be problematic and a real pain point. So using an e-commerce platform that seamlessly integrates with Sage, using our eLink software with Magento, this key information is now going to be synchronized between both systems. So the time that's spent dealing with the data entry in both systems you gain that time back, and it also maximizes profits and improves the customer satisfaction and the customer experience. So CertaPro has created a product called eLink, and it's a syncing technology that is a powerful tool which synchronizes data both ways. So your Sage product and customer information can now be updated to your web store or your business partner portal 24/7. Online orders can now be created in Sage and are ready to be processed within minutes. And this is all completed without running manual batch jobs or any manual export or import procedures. It's all automatic. And so the data securely flows between your Sage ERP and the web store in encrypted files. So it makes making your company's backend completely anonymous and secure. And because the web store is hosted outside of your Sage environment, the customer never has direct access to Sage. So having an online store means that you're open for business all the time. Whether it's B2B or B2C, our eLink software now makes it approachable and affordable for business to have an online presence. So let's take a quick step back and talk about Magento, or Adobe Commerce Cloud, formerly known as Magento. So this e-commerce platform, there's both a community and a paid option. And the world's biggest brands love Adobe for its flexibility, because today's consumers and their buying patterns are changing by the minute. So only Adobe Commerce or Magento, which is both open source and agile, can help your customers adapt and thrive. I know a lot of us are familiar with Adobe. It's a very a huge company. There is a global ecosystem as it relates to the Magento portion of this of about 150,000 developers, and they have network solution partners like us, like CertaPro. But bottom line is that Magento businesses sell more at a lower total cost of operation than merchants on any other competitive platform. So it gives you the flexibility to customize and extend your platform to create unique, differentiated, branded experiences. The Magento Marketplace, for example, is the world's largest and most versatile, and it offers numerous customized and tested extensions. These extensions can extend a store's features any way you want. So jumping back to eLink here, just real quick, I want to talk about the functionality and how it works. eLink is actually two parts. So one is an API that runs on top of the Sage server that allows us to talk to Sage using the Sage business objects. So with our eLink API, if you come in and you create an order, it actually creates the order as if you're tabbing through all of the fields in Sage. So it's not just putting data in a database, if you will. Any business logic that's built into Sage, we're going to be following all of that same business logic with our eLink API. We built out the software for both sides of Magento and Sage from the ground up, and so doing so gives us the flexibility to create a plethora of different modifications and customizations for your customers. So we create everything in-house, and we only build these applications for Sage. So we are Sage and Magento centric. It's all that we do. So with that, let's take a look, and I'm going to hand this over to Nick, and we'll do some transactions and show you this functionality between eLink and Adobe Commerce.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, everybody, for joining. So I'm just going to go through a quick run through of the actual integration between Magento and Sage. So we'll look at some products that have been synced to the website. We'll place an order, invoice that order, so you can actually see how the integration is working. What we've done here is we just have a fresh copy of Magento, the Magento demo theme that they have, which is called Luma, and then some demo products and things that come with Magento. So everything is out of the box. We've installed our eLink extension and then our eLink enhancement in Sage. So this is all the functionality they would have out of the box with eLink. So we'll just go to, actually I'll go to the tops, maybe. I'm having technical problems today. We'll just go down to some things on the bottom of this page. So we have products that are syncing from Sage. So we sync as much information as you could possibly need from Sage. Any information that's available in Sage will sync. So we have inventory and stock levels for controlling in stock and out of stock on the website. We have any of the descriptions that you might have in Sage and attributes that you might need for creating your configurable products and things like that on the web. We do sync all of the pricing over. So any custom pricing you have set up in Sage, whether it's contract pricing, price levels, price codes, your tier pricing, all of that comes over to the web automatically. And depending on the logged in customer, when they're looking at a product, they're going to see their price as it's calculated in Sage. So you don't have to worry about, imports and exports of pricing or anything like that. Anytime you change its price in Sage, it's going to automatically sync to the website, and the logged in user is going to see the price that they're supposed to see when they're looking at products. So we'll just add a couple of these products to the cart. We'll do this tank top also. And then we'll head over to the cart and go to checkout. When we get to the checkout, you can see we already have an address entered in here. We do bring over all the customer information from Sage. So if you have an existing relationship with your customer and they sign up online and they link their account, then they get all of their address, their ship to addresses and everything automatically imported into their account. So they don't have to go re-enter all the information again. So we'll just choose the default shipping address that's here. We'll pick the $0 shipping because who wants to pay for shipping? And then when we get to the payments page, I'll point out that we add 2 payment methods to Magento during the installation of our solution. So we have our credit card extension and our Bill Me. The credit card extension will work with any of the integrated payment processors with Sage. So we have, Paya, eBiz, APS, all of those. So you can actually do the pre-authorization on the web, have that transaction brought in with the sales order, and then the capture or the post-authorization happens during the invoicing process, and all of that flows through just like you put the credit card directly into Sage. We also add our Bill Me option. Our Bill Me option is connected with the Sage payment terms and credit hold. So you can set up which payment terms are going to be credit card only, and you can, this Bill Me will actually appear and disappear depending on the customer's payment terms in Sage. So you can handle your B2B and your B2C customers all in the same store without having to separate them into groups and things like that. It's just based on their information that's available in Sage. Their experience will be different when they go to checkout and look at products and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and place the order as credit card so I can show you how that pre-authorization goes through to Sage. We'll use the saved credit card that we have here, and we'll just check out for this order. So we'll go ahead and place this order, and then we'll get a confirmation. We're using what I call a live syncing system. So you can see we get a confirmation number. It doesn't look very much like a Sage sales order number. So we can go into our account page, and if we go to sales orders, you can see this is up here in pending sales orders. So we're going to queue everything on the web. So there's no reliance on Sage being available for the customer to be able to actually shop and get print their invoices or place orders. They can even make payments on invoices, and you don't have to have Sage available at any given time. Once Sage comes back up, so if you're doing maintenance or whatever it might be not available, once it comes back up, this will just start syncing in the background. So if we go ahead and refresh this page, you can see that order is left from pending orders, and now it's down here in the actual accepted orders. And we have our web order number that you saw on that confirmation page and the actual Sage sales order number. So this has gone to Sage, and then we've brought all the information back to the web. So the customer has a view of the order as it is in Sage. So here you can see those two items that we had ordered during the checkout. If we go and change the quantities or the pricing in Sage, once that syncs back to the web at the next interval, then the customer is looking at their order on the web, they're going to see those changes here as well. So they have a view of exactly what's happening on the order in Sage. Other thing to note is in sales orders, you can see I have sales order 185 here that doesn't even have a web order number. We also bring any transactions that are directly in Sage, so we don't care about the origination of the transaction. All the Sage transactions are available to the customers for their accounts. So you may have a customer that doesn't even place orders online, but they want to be able to view and print their invoices. They can still use this as a customer portal to self-service themselves for that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to point that out. So we'll go ahead and go into Sage and we'll look at the sales order. So we'll go to sales order entry. We bring in that web order number to the sales order as well. So customer gets a confirmation email that has that web order number, doesn't yet have the Sage order number, and they call in the customer service. Customer service can still look up that order by the confirmation number as well. So you don't have to worry about the difference in the order numbers. And when we select that order, you can see we did a pre-authorization on the web, so we get the message about that. And then if we go to the payments tab, you can see that credit card transaction is actually here completely. We're using, like Simon had explained earlier, we're using the business objects to actually fill out the sales order entry for. So if you have done any scripts for item validation or anything like that, we would follow all of that same logic. And if you'd return any errors, then that order would be stuck in the queue on the web with whatever, that validation error might be, so that you can resolve it before exporting the order. So any business logic you already have will still be followed with the E-Link solution as well. So here we brought over the customer, it loads all the customer defaults, and then we fill in any information that we need. So the addresses, if we had changed the shipping address or something like that, we would have the actual shipping address that we were selecting for this order. Here's those two products that we had selected with the price from the web and the quantities, and then here you have our order totals. I'm gonna go ahead and manually invoice this order so that you can see it go back to the web, and we can show you, the tracking numbers come over and things like that. So I'll just create a new invoice. If you're using shipping data entry or using any sort of shipping solution, like say Starship or anything else, they're gonna put all the tracking numbers in the exact same spot that we're gonna put them. So like I can create a tracking number here. So we'll be pulling the information from the same place. So you'll get automatic integration with any sort of shipping solutions that are using the standard Sage areas for the tracking information. So we'll just create a couple of demo tracking numbers just so you can see how those go back. We'll select our order. And then for this, we'll just go ahead and ship complete and go all the way through. We have the choice to show pending invoices or just invoice history. This is set up to show pending. So as soon as I create that invoice, that information is going to go back to the web and the customer is going to get their tracking numbers right away. So you get a pretty quick view to the customer of the order as soon as it's being processed in Sage. So while that invoice syncs, it'll take a minute or so. I'll show you a couple of the other features that we have. We have our quick order entry form. And so this is much more for like B2B customers or return customers where they may already know the SKUs of the products they want to order, or they want to look up products quickly by search by SKU or name and just add them to an order form. So if I go here, we search for anything and add it to the form, then here we can update the quantities. We get a quick stock check, and this can be modified to show your actual stock instead if you have B2B purposes where you want the customer to know exactly how many are in stock, and all the pricing shows up as it is in Sage. So if I mouse over any of these, if they had tier pricing, you would see those tiers, and if I change the quantities, the price would change based on my actual quantity pricing that's set up in Sage. Once I hit add to cart and checkout, this adds all these products and quantities to the cart. It goes directly to the checkout screen, so it's a very quick way for like a PO entry type of ordering for a B2B customer versus going through a whole shopping experience. So then once we place that order, we can go back and I'll go ahead and look at the invoices. So if we look at that sales orders first, you can see this is that sales order that we placed. You can now see it has an invoice on the bottom of it. And if we look at the sales order detail again, you can see at the bottom we have the invoice information with the tracking numbers. We also have an invoice view, which allows to search for invoices by date and items that might be on that invoice. And then here you also get a quick view of all the tracking numbers and things for all of your invoices. So you have multiple ways to look at your account and find the information that you're looking for, but all of these have links back and forth between each other. So if I go to invoices, I have a link to the sales order directly from here. And if I'm viewing the invoice, then I can see the tracking information on the bottom, and I also have links to the sales order directly as well. So it's a very quick way for the customer to have complete access to their account. And then again, with the invoices, same thing. Doesn't matter about the origination of the transaction. We have some invoices here that are just AR invoices with no sales order associated with them at all. And the customer still gets view of those invoices, can view, print, and pay those invoices directly online. Once we have an invoice, we can also make payments. So if you want to allow your customers to make payments online, then we have this payment extension, which will allow you to do that. So your customers can go into payments. They can see all of their payment history. Again, doesn't matter of their origination. So we have checks that were sent in, tells which invoices we paid and the amounts off that check that it paid towards that invoice. And then customer can come in, they can actually make a payment on their account. So when they click make a payment, again, they have all the same credit cards that they have saved from their checkout. So if they save a credit card during checkout, then they'll have that access to that here as well. And we also have the ability to manage payment methods. So they can add a new credit card at any time and have that show up here as well. And then directly from here, if they wanted to add a new credit card, they could do that as well. If the payment processor supports ACH, then we also have the ability to do ACH here as well. So if you want to allow the customers to do ACH to make payments, save on some of the processing fees, you could do that as well here. I'll go ahead and use the same credit card. We'll add from our invoices. You can see I have one open invoice for $1,315. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the grid. Can choose to pay partial if I wanted to, so I could make this $1,000 instead and leave that $350 open for payment, and then place that payment. Unlike the checkout that did a pre-authorization, this is actually going to do a capture at the time we make this payment. So you don't have to worry about whether the funds are available at the time you actually go post the payment or anything like that. This is going to do a capture, and then this is going to bring this in as a cash receipt transaction into Sage. The difference is in the sales orders, you saw it went from pending sales orders down to sales order, accepted sales orders as soon as it's synced. For payments, they'll stay in pending payments until you actually post the batch in Sage, because this amount isn't actually on the customer's balance yet. So if we go to history, it's not going to move down to here until it actually gets posted in Sage. We also have, say you're not making a payment, but you need to do a return or replacement. We have our RMA extension as well. This integrates completely with Sage's return merchandise authorization module as well. So customers can come in, they can create an RMA or request an RMA. They can add items from their previous invoices. You can control this grid. So say you only allow returns for 90 days, we can have it only pull 90 days worth of their purchases here. They can add the products that they want to return. You can control the return reasons. So these are coming from Sage, and then you can filter them on the web. So say on the web, you don't want to show the word defective on your website anywhere. You might filter out the defective part as a return reason here, but you may need that inside of Sage. So these are completely filterable and customizable. And then the actions, same thing. Say on the web, you don't want to allow credit. You only want to allow replacement or repair. You can filter out credit so that that's not available to your customers as well. So customer can choose their return reason actions. It's going to pull the quantities from the invoice. They can update those. So if I'm only returning 1, but I ordered 3, then that can change this to 1, and then I can place that RMA. And this will work the exact same way as the cash receipts. This is going to stay in pending until you go and you switch it to, it'll come in as a status new, and you can switch it to open, and then it'll move to accepted. That's saying that you're actually accepting that RMA, and then it'll give them an RMA number. Some customers will just completely remove this confirmation number and things like that. So that's a basic view of some of the features that are available in eLink and the integration back and forth between Sage. We have a lot of other options, such as custom products. If you have proprietary products for some of your customers that only some customers can see your order, those can all be managed in Sage, and then that syncs to the web, and when they log in, they see their products and things like that. We have extension for a multi-customer, where you can have one, say you have 5 Sage customers and they have one parent customer that needs to manage them or make payments on those individual Sage customers. They can have one login on the web, and they can manage all of those customers directly from their account. We have native apps for Android and iOS that integrate with Sage and Magento. So there's a lot of other features. We can do a custom demo for you, reach out to Simon and set that up.
Great. All right, Maya. Maya's going to be talking about integrated payments.
My name is Maya Green. I'm the CEO at VIP Integrated Payments. We are long-term payments professionals in the Sage, Acumatica, NetSuite channels. We've probably worked with most of you or helped most of you in the past, and are happy to do so again. We do work with all of the Sage products, as I said. We are the leading independent facilitators of payment processing services, and we are on a multi-platform model. Basically what that means is when you work with us, you don't have to go with just one platform, whereas some of the competitors, they have their solution and that's really it. We do provide an end-to-end suite of payment solutions. We work with a diversified network of partners and alliances, and I know it says 15 plus years, but we've been doing it for a little over 25 total as a team of integrating and developing partner and end user relationships. We have been involved in over 3,500 Sage 100 payments installs and about 5,500 Sage installs total. We're looking to become the go-to integrated payments consultants in the industry. What that means is when you use us, we are going to tell you the benefits and the drawbacks of each solution that's out there, and point you in the right direction. We are ETA certified payments professionals. What that means is that we have to sign a code of conduct. We basically, it's kind of like a CPA for payments. It's the Electronic Transaction Association that you get certified through. All of our team members are certified. So what we'll do is we're going to talk about some tips and tricks for payment processing, specifically integrated payments in Sage 100. First thing we'll talk about is early termination fees and long-term contracts. The term of the contracts generally when you sign up for payments is a 3-year term. That's pretty standard. Some of these solutions, in the Sage world, that you see from the providers are 3-year with a 1-year rolling. What that means is it auto renews for an additional year after your 3 years is up. Some of them do a 3-year with a 3-year. We always do a month-to-month contract. We don't believe in handcuffing anybody to long-term contracts. We want to make sure that you are able to be flexible and that you can make choices that are best for your business. Indemnification. Generally, these merchant services agreements are one-sided indemnification. And what that means is kind of like an insurance policy for you and the payments provider. A one-sided indemnification means that the payments provider is covered. A mutual indemnification means that both sides are covered. So essentially, anytime you're looking at your payments contract from any provider that you choose, you want that mutual indemnification. You want to make sure that it's in there. That way, both sides are covered. Otherwise, you're kind of looking for trouble if you ever decide to leave. Liquidated damages. It's a contractual provision requiring a party in breach to pay a predetermined amount. What that means is when you sign up for that 3-year term, if you want to leave after a year, you generally have to pay the additional 24 months times whatever they decide that is. Usually how that's worked out is it is based on profitability. So if you're making them, say $100 a month in profit, you have 24 months left on your contract, you're going to pay them $2,400 to get out of that contract. Exclusivity is how they kind of mask it. And what that means is you're exclusive to them. If you decide to leave within the time limit that's given, then you pay whatever it is that they decide. Again, we're month to month on every one of our contracts, so none of the clients, the partners have to worry about handcuffing or being in a long-term contract that's going to cost you a lot to get out of. So one thing to keep in mind is when you work with third-party solutions in integrated payments, what that means is a payment solution that's not written on Sage code. There is only one provider that's written on Sage code, and they are the ones that used to be owned by Sage Payment Solutions. I won't mention names, but we do work with them a lot. When you work with third-party solutions, the uninstall and the install process is a little bit more, we'll say, problematic, right? So what happens is if you ever want to uninstall and leave, generally what is recommended is that you uninstall the whole library master, which anybody that's on this call that's worked with Sage at all knows that that is a huge headache and generally it is a big red flag. Most of them will not tell you that. None of ours require the full uninstall. We do help with the implementation, setup, service, and support of all of that. So the partners and the clients do not have to worry about any of that. So the most important thing to most people is the rates and fees that they're receiving. And basically, there are a couple of hints that need to be used when you're looking at how to negotiate rates. One is you have to know the average rates and fees for your industry and your environment. Also, generally do not provide your merchant statement up front. See what the provider can actually do, what they're willing to do before you ever send them that. It is a necessary evil to send the merchant statement, but don't send it up front. The reason it is necessary at the end of the day to send the merchant statement is to set an underwriting profile, to get your ticket sizes, average ticket, large ticket, the type of cards you're taking will, you'll be able to break down the savings and things like that based on the card types that are there. Never ever accept a tiered pricing structure that is just kind of a pyramid scheme. What happens is you're bucketing all of your rates and fees into 5 buckets, and that's generally dependent on the processor. What you want to know is what you're paying to the processor and what you're paying to Visa and MasterCard. Always require an annual rate review. Anybody that refuses to do an annual rate review for you is not worth their weight. You definitely want to make sure that you're on top of that the provider that you're working with is trustworthy and they're on top of that for you. So always require and request an annual rate review. Work with a manager. Generally, you can start with a sales guy, but ask to work with a manager before you finalize your contract. And the reason that you want to do that is obvious. You want to make sure that you're being told the truth. You want to make sure that you're working with somebody that isn't going to be churned over in 2 months because they didn't make their quota. So you want to be with somebody that's going to stick around. And when we refer to payments consultants, that's the way we look at ourselves. We try to teach rather than sell, and it's in your best interest and our best interest that you, your clients, the partners, that everybody involved know, what they're getting into, how it works. We do know your industry based on, what Sage 100 is good at. Wholesale distribution, manufacturing, construction, services, chemical, food and beverage, nonprofit. We've worked with all of them. As I said, we've done over 3,000 Sage 100 installs. There's not much that we haven't seen, but work with somebody that knows your industry, that knows Sage, and that knows exactly what you need. Never ever allow your payment processor to lease you equipment. It's we kind of refer to it as fleecing. It's generally a ripoff, and it will keep you in a long-term contract for a piece of equipment that really costs nothing to buy outright. So you'll probably pay a couple $1,000s for a terminal that is worth a couple $100. We generally give the terminals away if a client needs terminals because we want to make sure that they're up and processing, and that's where the money is made. That's where the money is saved for them. As long as they're processing, everybody's good to go. Make sure that if anybody ever wants to sell a terminal to you or your client, that you read the fine print. At the end of the day, terminals are becoming a little bit fewer and further between, but there are some of those contracts that have them in there, and just kind of be wary of that. Now, this is a really important one too, because this is kind of the hook that payments providers use. When they get your merchant statement, they break down a cost analysis and show you a quote that you will likely save. A lot of times what's happening is they're overstating that savings a lot. And so what you want to keep in mind is that generally when you receive a quote, they are overstating that. So when it comes out in the wash, it's probably not going to be right, but make sure you're kind of having them back the math in, so that is what you're going to get when you sign up. Be careful of providers that talk a lot about level 2 and level 3 payments, and that your interchange is going to be optimized 100% of the time, because it's generally that's not how it works. If you do a lot of business to business, interchange can be optimized on a lot of those cards, but most people don't do 100% business to business, which means that all of your cards are not going to be optimized, and the savings in this actual quote here, the level 3 savings shows almost the full amount of the volume that they did is level 3 savings. Just you have to be really careful and make sure that you're able to put the math together before you sign up. We can help you break down any of those. We do all of our rate quotes and things in-house, so we walk the clients through, the partners through if they want to see it. That way you know exactly what you're getting into before you sign up. Support is key. This is kind of how we've built our business. It's the cornerstone of what we do. So we will support you. We will support your client, regardless of if you're a customer of ours. If you have a problem with Sage, with payments, the current payments provider, any of that stuff, we're happy to help you, walk you through, any of the issues, even call the current provider, with you and, kind of get you back on track. It's, again, the way that we've built this business. We do all the service, we do all of the support, all of the setup for any new client of ours. Going forward, we're the first line of defense. We generally do not use any of the platforms that we work with for their support. And we make sure that we are the people that, that you have to call, and that's a promise that we make. So this is our direct contact information, mine, Tom's, and Mike's, who is our director of support. We're always happy to field calls, answer questions. If you're looking at changing payments providers or your clients are, we're happy to help regardless of if they change to us or not. We're going to give them the truth and make sure that they're in the right place for them based on their business. With that, I will hand it back to Adrian, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Maya. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we wish you very happy holidays. Everyone, take care.